Smarterfan. Smarterfan. Yeah. Smarterfan.
Hey, everybody, welcome to another segment of Smarter Fan Podcast, where we bring you behind the veil of sports business and life. I'm Joe, and this is Barry. How you doing, Barry?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I'm feeling good. It's feeling crisp. It's feeling like football season. I'm
Mm-hmm.
feeling good. I'm feeling good. Ready
Yeah,
for a few little tailgating parties. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. How you feeling, buddy?
I'm feeling the same. I'm feeling fine, you know.
Awesome. Awesome. What you got for us tonight?
Okay. So I'm going to talk about the last 2 weeks of the NFL, my observations anyway. You know, last
Mm-hmm.
last week the Bears came out swinging and,
Yeah.
were playing. I think they were playing on emotion, with the passing of Dick Butkus, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and then this week they came back down to earth against the Vikings. So, you know, uh, the the Bills, they're hard to figure because they're losing to teams that they should beat. Like the Jets and the Jags. You know,
Well,
and
the
the
Jets ain't that bad, and the Jags ain't that bad as they were in
yeah,
the past. But I hear what you're saying.
yeah,
They're battling some inconsistencies, and they got to get that worked out because they've
yeah,
been flying high for the last 3-4 years and haven't been able to get it done against Kansas City.
mm-hmm,
So this
yeah.
is like a watershed moment for them.
Well, the Giants gave them all they could handle, uh, you know,
Yeah.
and that came down to a non-call. Otherwise, they might have lost that game.
Wow.
You know,
Wow.
I mean,
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
tough. It's tough. It's tough.
you know,
It's a game of inches. It's a game of inches.
that's for sure. You know, and and only Detroit is just they're 5-1 quietly.
Well, no one believes it. That's what
you
it
know,
is. No one really believes it, and they don't know what to make of it. They don't know. I don't think they have figured out what the storyline is because Goff was supposed to be terrible. He's
mm-hmm.
not.
He never was, in my
Well,
opinion.
you know how they always sell that when they get rid of you.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
we're gonna go staff it. We'll take that kid. We can get it done with him. Blah 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 blah. We can't get it done with Goff. You know.
yeah. Well,
And hey, listen, I'm. He's got those guys playing. I think because he's a throwback in a sense to how kids grow up playing football.
yeah, yeah,
And being that he was a former player, he's tapped into that as well.
yeah,
And he means what he says what he means, and the guys are responding. He's getting the kind of guys in his camp that want what he wants. You know,
yeah.
and he's treating them like grown men. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Yep.
like this is what we do. This is how we feed our families. And so you need to be here 110%. And if you can't or don't want to, you won't be here.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. That's the way it's
Yeah.
supposed to be, you know. So anyway, the Giants, the the Miami beat the Giants last week, but it seemed like it was costly because they lost Devon a, a con, whatever. I can't remember how do you pronounce his name. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but they never skipped a beat, you know, because they beat Carolina by 22.
Well,
So
it's called next man up, brother.
yeah, yeah, evidently. So and the Pats at this point, I think they're looking at draft picks. Because
They've struggled.
they
They're
just can't
struggling.
get it. They can't get it together.
I just never thought that was the quarterback. I mean, I just didn't. I wasn't particularly impressed in college.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, Saban produces probably more offensive linemen and defensive players in the NFL than really specialists. He gets a few in there,
Right.
but
Yeah. Yeah.
not really, quarterbacks, no. Last real quarterback Alabama had was Joe Namath.
That's for sure. Yeah.
Really did anything.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Different. Passing in the SEC is very, very different. You got to come from like an LSU. You're not going to come from a powerhouse
Right.
quarterback in the NFL. It just doesn't work out that way. I don't know
Yeah.
why, but it just doesn't.
Yeah.
It just-
Well, so anyway, the Ravens bounced back after that dismal performance against the Steelers,
you're so hard, Joe. You're so hard,
Well, they
man.
didn't show me nothing last week,
Man, you're so hard. You fans are so hard on Lamar and the Ravens. My goodness, man.
Well, it took no. I'll give Lamar his due, but TJ Watt wrecked that game the second half. He just wrecked it.
Well, that's why he get the big money. That's what he's
Yeah.
paid to do.
Yeah, and that's who we should have had, but I'll leave that alone. And Miami beat the Giants last week, but it was costly because they lost
Yeah.
Devon Achan. But they like I said, they never skipped a beat,
Yeah.
as they beat Carolina by 22. And the Pats, they may be looking at draft picks at this point.
Yeah.
The Ravens bounced back after that dismal performance against the Steelers.
That's always a tough game. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And the Niners and Eagles were upset by the Browns and the Jets. But it's still going to be interesting in week 13 when those two go head to head.
Always is.
Always
is.
And
that's
the
a
boys,
blood feud.
Yeah, the boys won on a penalty-filled game last night. But the defense finally came through and got it done.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
all of McCarthy's teams look the same. What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do, Joe? What do you want me to do? I got another 500 coach with incredible talent, but they can't take advantage of because the coaches ain't that good. What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do, Joe? What do you want me to do?
We got to go down to Jerry's house and just wring his neck. That's what we got to do.
Unbelievable. It's like it's been 20 years. It just doesn't occur to you at some point get out of the way. Anyhow.
So now I wanted to talk about Daniel Jones only because I feel bad for this kid. This kid, he has been getting the hell beat out of him for the last 5 games. Now he's out with a neck injury. So
wow.
Yeah, he's getting a little reprieve. But 28 he's in the last 5 games, 28 he's been sacked 28 times in the last 5 games. 10 alone against Seattle.
It's ridiculous.
The only one who's got him beat is Sam Howell of Washington.
Wow.
So it just, it reminds me of Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck was just out there getting the hell beat out of him, and for what? He finally said, I've had enough.
Yeah, I don't really understand. You're gonna spend this much money on a quarterback, but not give him, you know what I'm saying? I would almost, if I was an offensive coordinator, I would recruit offensive linemen. I'd almost create a farm system, right? I really would. I would do a lot of what Jimmy did back in the day, and really scout real hard to develop talent on the offensive line. Because to me, it doesn't make any sense to pay these quarterbacks all this money if you can't protect them. I actually think Daniel Jones is a good quarterback. What I don't think is that they don't have the weapons and some pieces. He can run. He's mobile. He's accurate. He can throw. He's smart. I just don't think they have the real weapons around him to be competitive,
Well,
in my humble opinion.
I was telling somebody today that, and in my opinion, Tom Brady is the only one who gets it because Tom Brady said, "Don't give me all the money, put players around me," and that's why. And they surrounded him with the talent he needed, and that's why he's got 7 rings. you know,
Yeah, yeah. I agree, but the Giants haven't been to a Super Bowl or playoffs in quite some time,
yeah.
and that means you should have plenty of money.
Well, the last go round, they gave Eli all the money.
Yeah, that was not a very wise decision.
hmm
And maybe that's what's coming back to bite them.
It
You know what I mean?
is. It is.
You
It
know,
is.
is that when it was time to move on, you didn't. You know, and you spent a whole lot of unnecessary money and got no return on the investment. It to me, it would have been better to let him walk out the door and write him a check.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And write him a nice check, but don't leverage your future because you know
Yeah.
I mean, that's not. I don't ever like a player getting hurt, but when you're quarterback and the neck, that's not good, bro.
No.
Because all that torque and you know what Peyton Manning went through, and
Yeah.
that's not a good thing.
Yeah.
And
No, that's why I feel bad for this kid.
you gotta fix those things. You gotta, you know. Excuse me. I'm a big proponent in scouting and so forth and so on.
hmm
And we all know the value of offensive linemen.
Definitely.
I'm just surprised that people are not more intelligent on finding talent, keeping talent, developing talent
Hmm.
that can play. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
You
So,
know.
but that's my take on Daniel Jones. But anyway, there's talks. The
Hmm.
XFL and the USFL are having merger talks.
They should.
Yeah. So they're looking to they're hoping to complete the merger before the 2024 season. You know, and the seasons are scheduled to start, and after the Super Bowl. The original XFL, which was owned by Vince McMahon, ran for 1 season. You know, before folding in 2001, and
Hmm.
then he relaunched it in 2020.
Hmm.
But the season
I
was
thought
cut short by COVID.
I thought the Rock bought the XFL.
Well, Vince McMahon sold it to The Rock.
Oh, okay.
He
Okay.
sold the league to The Rock. And Danny Garcia and the Redbird Capital Partners Group. You know, so that's where it stands now with him. Now the USFL folded in '86, and a new USFL launched in 2022 under the ownership of Fox Corporation. You know, but at this point, the leagues would be more viable financially together and would likely have a better chance of long-term
Survival.
viability. As a spring alternate if they can figure out how to pool their resources together. So
Well,
that's
this is called Smarterfan podcast.
hmm yeah, yeah. So,
So that's yeah,
but it
hmm
would be a nice business venture if they could get it done.
yeah, because people are hungry for football.
Exactly,
I
exactly.
mean, the hunger's there. They just need to, I think, coming together, pulling resources together,
hmm
polishing it up, making it look as close to the NFL as possible,
Yeah,
and making it affordable. More affordable. It'd be more affordable for a lot of people to come out to games and stuff. I think they really got a shot if they get the marketing right
and
because people are hungry for football.
yeah, and to your point about like a minor league,
Yep.
that they would give these guys that didn't get the chance in the NFL to show out, and then
Hmm.
the NFL might take another look at these guys.
Absolutely. There's a lot of guys who were there, and for whatever reason, system, process, whatever,
Yeah,
it didn't work out there. but you got a lot of number one picks, a lot of guys who were drafted high, for whatever reason didn't stick,
Yeah.
and you know, it's a great opportunity to get more reps and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes it has nothing to do with your talent. Sometimes it's just a new regime comes in,
Yeah.
and they want their guys.
Exactly.
It's not that you can't run a 4-2. It's not that you can't cover or catch. It's not that you have a bad attitude or you're a prima donna or anything. You're just not their guy.
Right. Yeah. Well, the Cowboys got Turpin from the USFL. He's one of their kick returners.
Yeah, I mean, the kid was
You know?
tearing up the league.
Yeah.
So
He was tearing it up last night.
he's a bad boy. He's a
Yeah.
bad boy.
Yeah.
So it's it all comes down to opportunity and making the most of the opportunity when you got the opportunity and seizing the moment when it's time to seize the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So I always think it's a good thing to give guys the opportunity to live out their dream, maybe get back to the big show, but in the interim, make some money.
There you go. There you go. So, hey. But so what's on your mind?
Oh, what's on my mind? LSU women.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been this excited about women's basketball since the late 80s and 90s.
Mm. Okay,
I
yeah.
can't wait. I saw a wonderful article today, Smarterfan podcast. This is what we do.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about Angel Reese, the leader
Mm-hmm.
of the team,
Mm-hmm.
and how much money she's making. I wish people would stop counting people's money. But, and the reality of her probably not leaving until she absolutely has to leave.
Yeah, why not?
And I think it's the most wonderful, wonderful, wonderful thing that could ever happen to college sports.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
there's no reason these great athletes in college should not get a share of that money going into the pros or opting out to not even, yeah, I've made enough money.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to go pro.
Right,
I've
yeah.
enjoyed this and I'm gonna do something else. I got $50 million in the bank, and I'm gonna do
Mm-hmm.
something else. I don't have to play.
Yeah.
I don't want to put my body through that wear and tear anymore. It's the best thing for the people say, oh, Barry, what's going to happen to the game? Where are we going to get players? There really is no shortage of players.
No.
There's a shortage of elite players, but there's no
Yeah.
shortage of players. And not everybody's the same.
Mm.
And then there's nothing to say that she couldn't take a year off or two if she decided to, and then come back and be a pro.
Why
You know what I
not?
mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think she has an opportunity, and the LSU women have an opportunity to do something that I don't think it's ever been done, which is repeat and then possibly three-peat
Yeah.
before
Well,
she's done.
time
I
will
mean,
tell.
time will tell. So I'm very excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
Very excited about, I always get on here and I talk about Coach Prime. It's always about football. But I'm gonna switch the stage a little bit tonight and just,
Mm-hmm.
you know, he's really doing an amazing job of helping these young men become men,
Mm.
and learning
Yeah.
about responsibility and accountability,
Mm-hmm.
being smart, thinking about your actions. They got the bye week, what their expectation is, what they need to. He keeps moving the needle forward. Hey,
Yeah.
we fell down. You know, there's some games they didn't think we'd win that we won, and games we should have won we didn't win. But he drew the line in the sand and says, "Hey, we're in the second half of the season right now. There's no reason why we couldn't go undefeated.
Mm.
There's no reason," and he's absolutely right.
Yeah.
And the trials and tribulations. To me, people were asking me. I said, "This is if they. It's best that they have it happen now." And as I told people, I said they're a 9-month team playing teams that are at least been together 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like having to grow up real fast. These are like baby chicks that got to grow in a week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so no excuses, no whatever. This is what it is. This is what real life is. And
Mm.
so, which actually makes them a much, much more dangerous team, because I said to a couple of people today, and they were just chirping about Shador, and chirping about Shador. And I think some of the Colorado fans, one another, And it's like, you don't have nothing to say? I said, say about what? What do you want me to say?
Hmm.
Well, you think they should keep Shador? I said, excuse me. Last time I checked, Shador has been helping them score 40 points a game. The problem ain't with Shador. The
Mm.
problem is with the defense.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's the most sacked. So let's figure this out. He's leading the Pac-12 in yardage. He is putting 40 points on the board. I just need the defense to be able to make one stop, and we win.
Well, you got to hold the DC accountable too.
Absolutely,
You
absolutely.
know?
Also, all I gotta do, I gotta hold them to take one score off whatever the total is. We win.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't think about it like that, Barry. Well, think about it like that. Because there's very few quarterbacks who could do what Shador is doing. And people always make this assumption that as they sit home and they're very comfortable, lazy boy, and sip their iced tea and have their popcorn and wings, that it's easy to do. And it's not.
Not by a long shot.
It's not. And it makes people think that they could get out of the chair and do it, and they can't. You know, I said, have you thought about that? He's putting up, at least in the last 4 games, 40 points, and most of them in the second half under pressure, like do or die.
Yeah. Huh?
Where am I going? Who am I going to go get? Who?
Yeah.
Who? All I need defense is to show up.
Yeah.
Just stop one score.
I know that's amazing. It's like we talked about, with Fouts and the boys.
Yeah, and they're just having to grow up really fast, and they have an opportunity, but they got to make the most of the opportunity, and they got to grow up fast, and in the lights and being in the shine. You got to perform, baby. You got to perform.
That's for sure.
So, between LSU women, I'm so excited about. Coach Prime, I'm so excited about. I'm rooting for Dusty Baker. I need another World Series championship. Dusty, please. I got to touch all sports.
Well, you got 2 ex-Yankees in the playoffs now, in Nathan Eovaldi and Jordan Montgomery. So take that, Cash. You're sitting home watching them perform because you gave up Jordan Montgomery for damaged goods, who's not even on the team anymore. So stick that in your pipe and smoke it, okay? And that's all I have to say about that. Hey,
Joe, I want you to calm down. Joe, I want you to
I'm calm. I'm very calm.
Joe, I hate. It just makes me laugh away because, boy, when you get pissed off and you've had enough of the shenanigans with the Yankees, boy, you let them happen. If I had a way, Joe, I would send this episode to Cashman.
Yeah,
so. Oh my goodness, Joe! Just like what? Oh, Joe, you're funny. I'm not even going to try to touch that. That's like a classic. We gotta put these together, like the classic pissed off moments.
But to add insult to injury, Cashman and his crew think that the Yankee fans are stupid.
Yeah. Well, they're not the brightest bunch in the room. Let's just put it that way.
But they think they are.
Yeah. Well, they inherited a ready-made castle, and they still can't manage it well.
Nope.
That's sad. Anyway, as we wrap up, my good friend, we touched the NFL, Major League Baseball, the NBA, well, the college basketball.
Mhm.
Who did we leave out tonight?
Um,
I love Formula One. Yeah, go ahead.
well, Formula One, yeah. That's I have a friend who's really into that. He says it's very exciting to watch.
Yeah, I love Formula One. Hamilton is one of my favorite drivers. And yeah, it's really, really exciting. I'm going to start bringing some more of that Formula One to our platform because it's really, really, really exciting sport. And I watch documentaries and the whole thing and how they select drivers and teams. And it's really like if you had enough money, you could enter Formula One.
Yeah.
It's just really like if you have enough money to do it, it's just very cash driven, and you find the drivers and the whole system. But it's a fascinating sport. Fascinating sport. And so on the Smart Fast podcast, we talk about sports, business, and life. And as I said, Coach Prime is really teaching about life, decisions, and helping these guys realize they're men. You're men, and you got to grow, you got to mature, and you got to make good decisions to get good outcomes. And so the last episode he had on Well Off Media really highlighted that. And it was just wonderful to see because so many guys, as he said, ruin their careers in these bye weeks. Some never make it back. Some get injured. Some fail out. Something takes them out. You know what I mean? Something takes them out. And you'll be like, what happened to so-and-so? You know what I mean? So he's really trying to get their head in, not everything is good. Not everything somebody offers you. There's nothing free in life, Learn how to say no, walk away. You don't have to do stupid things because other people are doing stupid things. Don't throw away your opportunity. Don't throw away your opportunity doing something stupid around people who really don't care about you.
No. And unfortunately, there are a lot of knuckleheads out there.
There are. And so when you're getting that much shine, that's the other side of shine. Because I always go back to what happened to Spence in that bad car accident, right? So the guy's building his career, making all kind of sacrifices, and some guy offers him a ride in his Ferrari, and the guy's probably inebriated and could have killed both of them, but severely damaged his body as a boxer. And putting him through all of that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what tends to happen more times than not. Well, guy got a Ferrari, he seems to be a fan. Let me roll with him. And you end up getting thrown from the car. I mean, when you see the accident, I'm like amazed that anybody even lived.
Yeah.
Right?
I can only imagine.
So in conclusion, my friend, Smarterfan podcast will be back with more news and views and insight and perspective. And so you got anything to say, my good friend?
I said it all. as you know. I said my piece.
I love when you can do those tirades. Oh, they are so funny to me. Haters gonna hate.
Hey,
haters gonna hate.
But sometimes with good reason.
Absolutely, Joe. Because you've been chewing at the bit for like 3 months. Oh my goodness, with the Yankees. Okay, my friend. Listen, it's been great. See you next week, and we'll do it again.
All righty now.
All right, Smarter Fan Podcast. See you then.
Peace out.
Smarter Fan. Ugh.